John, we got a Black Friday special on black swans. Cleanup in aisle something. How are you?
Doing great. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to you and to our audience and those of you who live in other countries
They don't care about
and are
Thanksgiving.
wondering, what is Thanksgiving? It's something that Hallmark came up with years ago, and it's probably not worth the time. But no, I think it's Black Friday here in the States, and Black Friday is sort of the first shopping day, I guess, where people offer a sale
Yeah.
and low prices for Christmas. So people who are obsessive about buying Christmas presents, I guess,
I thought
are
it was about
rushing out
stampedes and trampling people for televisions and Tickle Me Elmos.
for
Killing
Christmas.
your
For Christmas,
fellow.
right? Everybody's
Yeah.
buying Christmas presents. The whole idea here is they're buying Christmas presents the day after Thanksgiving because they have the day off of work. So they can go to Best Buy, they can go to Home Depot, they can go to wherever people go to buy stuff for Christmas presents. And I guess the stores offer special deals to entice this behavior, right? And
Well,
it creates this stampede mentality, right? Is that what's happening?
well, that's what I think. I mean, that's my opinion. This is something from Barron's, which I don't subscribe to, but it's saying that Black Friday is here. It isn't a blowout shopping spree anymore. Why? Because too many people realize it's a mess and you're going to get trampled and you just order stuff. Oh, but also Amazon people went on strike in an effort, I guess, to piss off Jeff Bezos.
Well, that's what we're going to take a look at. So why don't we go to the deck and share this with the audience? So
Oh, yeah.
big story. I don't know that it's being covered by MSNBC or CBS or NBC, but it does appear that the warehouse workers have staged a walkout today, Friday, Black Friday, across 40 countries. Now, this is being reported
Wow.
by Olivia Devereaux Evans for Mail Online and Reuters
Oh.
and Associated Press.
That makes me think it's probably not
she's-
true.
She's getting a lot of paychecks. So Olivia Devereaux Evans, nobody's saying she's a spy or anything like that. No, just because it's for Mail Online and Reuters and AP, nobody's saying that.
Right.
But Olivia Devereaux Evans wrote the story. And according to this, thousands of Amazon warehouse workers are staging a mass Black Friday strike across 40 countries. And it's, this is the biggest shopping day of the year. Da, 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 da.
But they're not even a union, are they? How did they organize this?
Right. That's what makes it somewhat remarkable is how did they do it without him knowing about it? So I wanted to investigate where is El Jefe? Where is Jeff? Now, Jeff is no longer the CEO of Amazon, right? He stepped down.
Oh, when did he do that?
Yes, a couple months ago. So he
I didn't
stepped
know
down
that.
and he's got, pull it up. New CEO. Jeff Bezos steps down, new CEO of Amazon. But, it's still his company, right? He still owns the lion's share of the stock.
Huh.
Yep.
The Lion, Lyin. Jeff Bezos quit his job.
What
Huh.
was the date? You said when. You asked me when, and I didn't know. What was the date on this?
Where is the date? Justin, they don't want you to know. What the hell? Why don't they have the date there? It's the lead story. Isn't that weird? To not
It is
put
weird.
the date on a news story?
Right?
It's July 7th,
say.
2021. Over a year ago. Huh.
There you go. All right, so he's not the CEO. So now Andy Jassy, that's right.
He put
Andy
the
Jassy
ass
is the
in
new CEO.
Jassy.
Right. You can't spell Jassy without ass. So Andy, it's Andy's problem, right? Andy's got 40,000 workers on strike. So I want to know, where's El Jefe? Where's Jeff?
Space.
Clearly he's with Lauren, right? Lauren Sanchez
Right.
isn't more than 10 yards away. So where are they? So if you go to the next slide in my deck, you guys remember what his yacht is named? You remember the name of his yacht? Go to the next slide.
I don't. The Flying Fox.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's cool.
So the name of his boat, the name of his yacht is the Flying Fox. Now, isn't that kind of ironic with all the bats and Wuhan and bat caves and
Is it
bat
a bat, a
viruses,
flying
and then
fox?
The U.S. quarter has the Malayan flying fox on it. Remember, we looked at the quarter and we're like, what is this? A cruel joke? Who's playing this thing? So
I
I
do
was
remember
curious.
that vaguely.
Right, right. So I wanted to know, where is the flying fox?
Oh,
Because if you find the flying fox, you're probably going to find El Jefe, right? You're going to find Jeff Bezos.
wouldn't it be fun to
So,
live on this?
as we've said, if we had this, we'd never get off.
Right.
I'd be,
Oh
I'd
no,
be in
we'd get
Bora
off
Bora.
almost every day, but we'd stay on the
Right.
boat.
For sure, for sure. All right, so let's go to the next slide and let's show the audience where Flying Fox is.
Wow.
So, yeah, around here we don't play games.
Oh man.
So, so Flying Fox. Well, who's the map's daddy? Who's the
Yeah.
map's daddy?
So
Right.
this is Vessel Finder, kind of like
That's right.
Fleetmon or something. Wow.
Correct.
That's
And
amazing.
what's interesting is Flying Fox is registered in the Cayman Islands. Now,
With
why
the
would Jeff
FTX?
not register it? Doesn't he live in Washington? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't he register it in Washington and pay the taxes on it? Why would he register that in the Cayman? He can't afford it? Huh.
Well, if Trump were there, he would say that makes him smart.
I guess so. Who wrote those laws? Who wrote the law that allows you to do that when you buy a yacht? That you can say, well, if I don't really want to pay tax, I just have to simply set up an LLC in the Cayman Islands and register it there as a charter boat and charter out for $5 million a week to Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Did
That's
he do
it?
that?
Yeah. I don't know the particulars, but that's the gist of it. You can certainly charter Flying Fox,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you could
Million.
probably set it up so that half of the ship was blocked off so that even when it does get chartered, nobody's messing around with your personal stuff, right?
Absolutely.
I would think.
Absolutely. But again, if you're going to charter it to Jay-Z, if you're going to charter it to Barack Obama and Michelle, if you're going to, keep in mind, who are his friends? Who are Jeff Bezos' friends?
Probably nobody when you're that rich, just people who want stuff from you.
Well, it's the same thing, right? Those are synonymous, right? In that world, it's all about that type of stuff, right? So all the yachties, right? The people who are on all these yachts. Steven Spielberg's got the yacht. Geffen's got the yacht. Ellison's got yachts. All these guys have got the yachts and the helicopters to get on and off of them. Spectacular. I told you, this boat and MBS's boat, these are the two nicest boats in the world, if you ask me.
Huh.
These are the
So is he getting his
sweetest.
human growth hormone treatments? There's probably a hospital on there, I would think.
Something, because he's looking pretty buff, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't look like he looked like 20 years ago.
No, he was a skinny little guy. And I'll
He
tell you,
must
there
have
was a
a
time in my life where I was going to the gym 90 minutes a day, 5 days a week. And I definitely was way more fit, but it was the same size me. I didn't get like UFC style.
Look at the photo on the right. It says yacht costs $4 million a week.
Wow.
So for $5 million, because you have to pay for food and fuel. So
$1 million of food a week? What are you eating?
No, it's probably going to be $100,000 in food and $900,000 in fuel,
Wow.
and then you have to tip the crew.
Whew.
And the crew, about 40 people on the boat, so you got to tip the crew and tip the captain, and it's going to cost you probably $5.5 million before you're done.
Huh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Nice boat. All right,
Yeah.
so where is it? Let's go back to the map. Let me show you guys where it is. Let's go back to
Right.
my presentation. I'll show you guys exactly where this is. And it's kind of interesting because at first glance, it appears it's in the Greek Isles. In other words, you're looking at Eos and Kos and the Greek Isles. Yet when you zoom in on the actual location, he's in Turkey.
Uh-oh.
So
What the hell is he doing there? It's a war zone.
He's not the only
practically.
one. And he's not the only one. So we're going to take a closer. Yeah.
What is he doing there?
Well, here's the other interesting thing. This is the last reported location, meaning according to the systems, it hasn't moved from here since August.
But you're
So
trying to
September,
tell me
October,
he doesn't
November.
have a submersible that launches from that, or a helicopter that he can leave and
Oh,
go?
he's got the helicopter. No. He's got helicopters, and he's got a fleet of service boats that store inside this boat. So, in fact, if you look up Flying Fox Tender, or Flying Fox Yacht Tender, there you go, Flying Fox Yacht Tender, and you'll see that the boat that services it is magnificent.
Is this it? That just looks like somebody's regular expensive boat.
Yeah, that's
probably one of them.
$650,000 or something like that.
Just for this boat.
$750,000.
Unifox, that says.
Yeah, there you go.
This is $650,000. It just maybe it's like some kind of expensive like ski boat or something.
Oh boy, yeah, dude.
Fishing.
Yeah, I know.
Huh.
He's got a couple of them. Yeah, and they store inside the main boat, and they can be launched and then put away. So it's pretty significant. So let's go back to the map. So he's in Turkey, and this is Göcek. And I'm probably butchering it, but it's Göcek, Turkey. And there is the satellite photo of Flying Fox overlaid and all the other yachts. Now, it turns out that there are other yachts there as well.
All about you, Joy. Whose yachts are these?
Well, the one that caught my attention was Eclipse, and Eclipse is there.
That's Steve Jobs. No, who's Eclipse?
Let's do it in real time and see who's right next to Flying Fox. So Eclipse, current owner. Eclipse Yacht, current owner.
Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hamburg, Germany. Roman Abramovich, the Russian oligarch.
There you go.
What is he doing there? Isn't this the most expensive yacht ever?
One of the, yeah.
At the time it was built, this was the most expensive yacht ever.
There you go. So you've got Flying Fox and Eclipse, both in Göcek, Turkey.
Why?
According to the system AIS that tracks ships.
No way they can fake that. Well, I trust it. I think it's legitimate. They would know if the yacht
they're
wasn't
in the Caribbean.
there. It's a giant
they're screwing
yacht.
around in the Greek Isles. Yeah, they're screwing around the Greek Isles, and
But with all this unrest, Turkey, there was just this explosion at the hotel, and they're fighting back and forth with Putin about Ukraine. I know if I had a big 400 million yacht in Turkey, I'd be like, maybe it's time to leave. Right?
Well, the next slide we have is a story from the New York Post. And the New York Post was started by who? Alexander Hamilton? Something like that, right?
I think that's right. But it's run by Rupert Murdoch now.
Currently. But, one of the oldest newspapers. And according to the New York Post, and a story that was published back in May of 2021, Jeff Bezos' interest in helicopters was what revealed his affair with Lauren Sanchez.
Does she not look like the Joker in this picture? Batman.
Holy
Botox
Batman. Catwoman. She could certainly be Catwoman, right? She could go for Catwoman. Yeah, I would cast her. I'd cast her as Catwoman. Right in an Amazon film. But that's not how I remember it happening. I don't remember the story being that Jeff was interested in helicopters. MBS, right? The next thing you know, the story. Go to the next slide. Yeah, I mean,
this is what I recall. Dick pics.
Right. That something happened with pictures from his phone that somehow got into someone else's possession, and this blew the story wide open that he was seeing Lauren Sanchez. So this is what I remember the story, not this other version of it. What was weird about it was a text message on the next slide here. Go to the next slide. The detail was interesting. There was a chilling text message on February the 14th from MBS to Bezos.
Do we know what it said?
Jeff, all what you hear or told, it's not true. And it's a matter of time till you know the truth. The typo-riddled message read, there is nothing against you or Amazon from me or Saudi Arabia.
What the hell does that mean? And does MBS
Well, in
speak
other words,
English that poorly? I thought he speaks English well.
I don't know. He's a big man. Maybe his thumbs are too big for the iPhone or something. But the idea here is that basically the scuttlebutt, the story, was that MBS somehow hacked Bezos by sending him a message or Instagram or something like that, and had access to the phone, and therefore had access to his photos that he had of Lawrence Sanchez and of himself in the nude and things like that. So MBS responds to him and sends him a message and says, Jeff, this isn't true, and I have no hard feelings for you, nor does Saudi Arabia. So that's
what is because
MBS,
he's got what's his name, Jamal Khashoggi, working for him at Washington Post. That's what it is.
Well, it's that and so much more, right?
More.
And it's the Washington Post's coverage of him, right? So keep in mind that there's in most of the media, the Washington Post, the Atlantic, portray him as a lunatic because of the Night of the Long Sword, November 5th, 2017. So because of that, they see him as excessive and brutal. I see a different set of facts, right? We go by thickness. So because we look at things differently here, right? And that's one of our Black Friday specials, of course, are the We Go by Thickness socks, which we sold out of last year.
You should make that. Different color socks that match in thickness.
For sure. I think we might sell out again. So, but the gist here is there was this huge dinner get-together that MBS attended with Jeff Bezos and all these other big shots, and everybody was there. And MBS has access to the best spy stuff in the world. Right? He's buying it from the U.S., and he's buying it from Israel. Don't kid yourselves.
Right.
He's buying it from Israel, and he's buying everything he can get his hands on. If it works and it's available and he can use it to get an advantage, he's going to buy it.
Right.
He's absolutely going to buy it.
This looks like, is this for real? It says message to the chat and calls now secure. Hello, MBS. Hello, I saved the number. Mohammed bin Salman. I don't know. Jeff Bezos gave Saudi Crown Prince his number at a Hollywood dinner.
That's it. Kobe, right. Kobe was there. Remember, we were talking about this when Kobe died, and Bob Iger was there, and Bob Kraft was there.
Bob Iger is back at Disney now.
Bob Iger's back at Disney. Bob Kraft got dismissed of the massage parlor charges.
The ring. And he's also in the picture with Murdoch, with accusing Putin of stealing the ring that he gave to him.
I haven't heard a whole lot from Vladimir in the last couple of weeks, have we?
I think he's busy in a war.
I think he might be busy getting treated.
What are you talking about? You believe that he is ill?
Maybe. I saw those photos of his hand, the back of his hand, and it looks like IV bruises to me. So I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong.
He looks pretty healthy for a person his age, but this is the photo with this is you got the Super Bowl guy, and here's Murdoch saying, hey, just put the ring on your finger. We're going to run this story. That's not actually Rupert Murdoch's voice. He's Australian, but he's pretty old. Yeah, Robert Kraft. You got to pay. There's a Black Friday sale for the Boston Globe. Maybe we can read it.
There you go. All right, we got a huge breaking story, though. Next slide, before we have to go to our patron only. So our patrons are going to get to see some really interesting detail. And we're going to look at these Black Swan stories that we've been covering together, one of which is this Nina Jankowicz story. We're going to talk about that when we go patron only. You broke a story about Nina Jankowicz back in May, 6 months ago, that just hit the news in the last 24 hours. And we're going to talk about that because oftentimes it's rare. It's like, Johnny Carson actually does a skit, right? So it's like when you come and you break a story, it's like, it's cool, right? So, and that was a very cool break because, you got into the fact that, wait a second, isn't she kind of representing foreign interests there?
Well, but it's a little more than breaking it, though, John, because what happened was I basically forced her hand because this registration just occurred November 18th. What really happened was I produced that video asking, how could Nina Jankowicz be receiving all these payments from nonprofit NGOs run by the Canadian government, the Italian government, the UK government? Why isn't she registered with FARA? 2 days after that broadcast, Nina Jankowicz resigned, claiming that she was the victim of disinformation. I don't want to show this because she'll ding the video. It's got her address on it. We can see that. That's how she succeeded in getting a lot of these videos taken down previously. Somebody made a privacy complaint and said, oh, this person's exposing my personal information. I don't believe that that is a legitimate thing for YouTube to do. If I went and found some private information and exposed it, that's one thing. But if you publish your private information, as I have in lawsuits and things like that, that's public domain information. Maybe it's bad form to put it out on the internet, but it shouldn't be a punishable offense. And the thing that's super interesting about it, John, is that I would say she's confirmed that I was right, because I basically said, I do not believe it is legal, or at least if we want to claim that Michael Flynn, who I no longer support, is going to get brought up on charges for violating FARA, then what's good for the goose is good for stupid Nina. And it's the Center for Information Resilience, another British nonprofit, that announced that they were delighted to announce that the disinformation expert, which she is, has joined their place. And sometime between this announcement, or I should say sometime after this announcement, November 18th, she realized that somebody like me would probably go right back up inside her filthy ass if she didn't do this. So I believe she knows that I was right, and we busted up that whole operation with the Disinformation Governance Board.
I mean, obviously, so the story that broke in the last 24 hours or so was that she filed as a representative, what's it called? A representative of foreign government?
Foreign Agent Registration Act. She's filed under FARA, and we'll bring it up, and we just won't show her.
And this was what your challenge was back in May. And it's something that Charles talked about on the show that you guys did this past weekend. I was watching you and Charles, and Charles made a very, one of his 100 insightful observations, and says, oftentimes we're so far ahead of these stories that we tend to take it for granted that the audience that we're talking to in the moment knows that we were talking about this 6 months ago. Or whatever.
Right.
And so Nina Jankowicz files this FARA thing, and this story just breaks in the last 24, 36 hours or what have you. And this was what you were saying, hey, whoa, back in May, and saying, wait a second, wait, shouldn't this be here now? Like you were asking, where's your documentation, darling? If you've been doing this, how do you not have this?
And she quit.
And now she has it. Yeah, now she has it.
Right.
And they quit the whole misinformation governance board. They shut that whole thing down real fast. So tip of the hat to you, my friend. Nice reporting and forcing the hand.
This is just beginning, though, by the way, because I knew all along that Nina Jankowicz wasn't going to just say, oh, shucks, you figured it out and go away. This is just a new iteration. This is Nina Jankowicz .1, and they'll try something here that I'll have to bust up, and then...
That's right. All right, well, let's go to this huge break, or do we have to jump? We've got 1 minute? What do we have?
Actually, we should get over to subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. John, people can also watch on odyssey.com. If you go to odyssey.com and search for Crowdsource the Truth, that's going to be the easiest way to find it. The URL is a little long, but once you're on the Crowdsource the Truth Odyssey page, you can become a member where you will enjoy sponsor-exclusive content just as you would on Subscribestar and Patreon. So join us over there. We've got a lot to talk about. I was about to tell John some stuff that I know about Nina Jankowicz that I haven't revealed yet, and she's going to hate it. She's going to hate it. See everybody on Subscribestar, Patreon, and Odyssey in just 5 minutes. Thanks.